Hi everyone who studies Russian or speaks it. My name is Yaroslava. I'm a Russian language teacher, and in today's video I want to talk about how I make flashcards for memorizing words. And I want to show how I recommend it to anyone, where I pick these words, because there are two common ways of doing flashcards and I think they're wrong. And I think that my way is better, and I will show you how I pick words, how I write them down. I needed to make it more flexible, more adjusted to Russian language. This video will be in English, not as usual as Russian. I'm sorry for my intermediate students and people who want to practice Russian here. I hope that anyway it will be useful for you. Okay, let's start. So I'm doing it on Quizlet, and we just create a new study set. Create study set, folder, class. I don't even know what the difference is, but I do study set with the name of my student. For example, today it's Yaroslava. One of the important thing is what words you will be studying, because one common thing that I see a lot, people who wants to study the language, they just pick prepared flashcard set with, for example, 100 most common words in Russian, or 100 phrasal verbs that you have to know, and so on and so forth. But I kind of think that it's not really effective, because even if you will study them, you won't be using them probably, and you don't have any emotional connection to it, and it's just not in your life. So I will show you how I pick words for my student. We're using Mira board. You see, it's just a board with such a mess. And in the beginning of every lesson, we have short, small talk about how was your week, what were you doing, how do you feel, and so on and so forth. And this block with new vocabulary. This vocabulary, I didn't mean to introduce to the students this lesson, but because these things are happening in their lives, that means that they need these exact words. And the student and you need these words right now. And that's why I'm just write it down every lesson. So this is the first place where I'm looking for words for these flashcards. The second thing is when we're taking a lesson and when we're doing some exercises, we often need some words to structure our speech, some adverbs to transform this vocabulary from exercises and texts to your own speech. And that's why we need some new vocabulary. In Russian, for example, here, I just take these nice purple stickers. So these words are needed to make your speech brighter and more structured. Снова в принципе, in general, all the filler words, all the structure words, they're in these purple stickers. So that's the second place where I look for inspiration for these flashcard sets. And the third place where I'm looking for words to put into these flashcards, it's materials that it's basically materials that I introduce to a student on our lesson. Sometimes we're taking some news, sometimes it's videos, sometimes it's text from student books, and so on and so forth, depends on the program. And from these materials, with a lot of new vocabulary, with a lot of new lexes, we pick some words that this person likes the most and this person think he will use the most. And often it looks like just black pencil. After lesson, I ask the student, just underline what you found interesting. And these underlined words is the third place where I look for words. Not all of them will be in the final set, because probably this could be a lot, and some words are very, very specific. That's how I pick some words. So next thing, on Quizlet You have very easy interface. You just can understand everything. For example, term and definition. What I do with these words that I picked from my students. What there? Например, позавчера. Позавчера. Text is a word. And they already have these definitions. For example, the day before yesterday. That's the second problem that I see in a lot of flashcard sets. People tend to memorize words in target language and in their language. For example, позавчера, we're trying to get rid of Russian as much as possible. English as much as possible, obviously. And for example, позавчера, I could write the definition of this word, but in Russian, and I can ask what that. Позавчера, накануне вчерашнего дня, третьего дня. And I think that it will be very complicated. The problem with these definitions, often they're quite complicated, and I just need to make them myself. Накануне вчерашнего дня. I think no comments, да, без комментариев. So I will write something like this, just doing blank space. Then I'm making вчера, сегодня, завтра и послезавтра. Вчера, сегодня, завтра, послезавтра. I think it's kind of self-explanatory, and the person can just recall how to say yesterday, today, tomorrow, and what's most important, послезавтра. It's not everything that we're doing here. We have pictures. I love pictures, and let's make one. And the second thing is an example. And I'm trying to remember why my student needs this language, why my student needs Russian. And for example, they want to talk to their loved one. For example, their Russian wife or husband. Okay, so I'm trying to make this sentence very applicable to their everyday life, what they can use it with their loved ones. For example, позавчера, I'm just trying to, make this sentence in my head. For example, что ты делал в понедельник? I'm making a small dialogue to see this word in a context and to show context to use this word in their life. Что ты делал в понедельник? For example, сегодня среда. Конечно, я не помню, что я делал 3 дня назад. Это было позавчера. I'm not making the same exact amount of letters. I just think that it's fine, just to understand if this word was long or short or so on. So in this exact example, my student will have the phrase. They will recall it was, это было, the correct form. Then среда, 2 days a week. Понедельник, среда, very useful. And how to make these structures. Конечно, of course. Я не помню, how to make complex sentence. Я не помню, что я делал. And 3 days ago. Because it was среда, or was it 2 days ago? 2 дня назад. Okay, let's do 2 дня назад. Yeah, 2 days ago. Конечно, я не помню, что я делал 2 дня назад. Это было позавчера. And this way, we're basically doing all of the words. And it's fine if it's just not changing words, it's adverbs, so it's not changing. But what to do if it's changing words? Let's find some. Свободно. Свободно. Например, свободный. I'm doing it with basic form, свободный, and trying to find a correct picture. Let's make this for women, for female. Свободная и свободная. It's not necessary to do it this way, but I just do. First of all, I don't really care if my student is using the words, for example, in wrong case, because I think the most important part, I think for beginners, to be able to make sentences, not forms of words. Obviously, we're talking about it, obviously, we're practicing it, obviously, we're working on it, but it's just not as. For higher level, I just put свободный and that's it. Let's see what definition Quizlet. Okay, I don't even know what this means. And we just will write it by ourselves. Let's try again. I'm just going to Google and свободный. Свободный – это значение. Пользующийся свободой, незапрещенный, беспрепятственный. I'm kind of jealous of English language teacher because they have really nice definitions, not like Russian. So, свободный, I would say this: свободный человек может делать все, что хочет. And we need examples. What can it be? For example, so we just recalled this word, свободно, and basically made a phrase for a student to talk to in their life. Or another example, dog. So next thing that we can do is verbs. With verbs, situation is a bit more interesting because they are conjugating, and we have two forms, perfective and imperfective. Let's pick something. For example, советовать. What I do in this situation. Советовать. Let's check the definition. Посоветовать. Отлично. Just zero useful definitions. Let's pick something more. Nothing interesting. Let's pick this picture anyway. And I'm making the pair of. That's my advice for everyone who are studying verbs, to study them in pairs, perfective and imperfective form. I'm doing like equal signs. That means that it's synonym. Рекомендовать. I will try to make it all together, to work it all together. Например, я советую другу не идти в армию. Okay, cool. Или мой друг посоветовал начать карьеру врача. Почему бы нет? Why not? Correctly. And that's how we do all the words. What we can do with these sets? Obviously, we can just check this as flashcards. We can study them, or we can just do match or test or write or learn, and all these very interesting things. Yeah, I think the most important thing here is to get rid of English language as much as possible and to give a lot of different contexts. And this context should be applicable to the student life, to your life. So this video was quite long for me because at first I hated how I look. Secondly, I hated how I sound. The third, I hated what I talk about, and so on and so forth. And finally, I could manage and finish it. So if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, if you found it interesting, if you found it useful, please let me know. I would appreciate it so much. You have no idea. And see you on my Instagram. There's a place where I talk to people mostly and share. I don't really share a lot, so we can just talk there. And see you soon. It was nice to talk to you. Thank you.